Um, can you mute that? Thank you. What up, YouTube? Back at y'all again with another video. You know what I'm saying? It's a Laker game today. I'm happy as fuck about that. I mean, excuse my language. I'm happy about that. But I'm happy about that. I watch the Lakers all the time. But yeah, so we doing that. Laker Nation, let's go. But today's topic, today's video is I recently started a Twitter account. I won't necessarily say recently because I had a Twitter for a long time. I just never used it. But I recently started using it because I started understanding that Twitter is like very conversational. If you take a look at what's going on Twitter, they be talking, and it'd be like a lot of conversations, and people really be dialoguing about different things. So I was on Twitter the other day, and I ran across a tweet. I'm not gonna say no names, but basically the highly educated black woman, she tweeted, requiring a woman to be submissive would never not be unsettling to anyone who truly values partnership. The term posits social reproduction of a hierarchical dynamic. You know what I'm saying? So I read that, and I agree with that. I didn't necessarily agree with it, but I read it. So after I read that, I wrote this: requiring a man to be protective would never not be unsettling to anyone who truly values equality and partnership. The term posits protective and social reproduction of the lesser and higher value dynamic. You know what I'm saying? So basically, after I tweeted that, she blocked me. You know what I'm saying? And I was blocked. But what she did not know was that a lot of people saw that tweet. You know what I'm saying? So people start liking it and resharing it, because really the whole thing of requiring a man to be, requiring a woman to be submissive, um, basically being a hierarchy value of the system, a hierarchical value of the system, basically is the same, equal, and opposite to requiring a man to be protective. It still plays into the hierarchy of the system, because it just plays into who's more and who's less valuable. It's actually it playing out in real time. So when a man is asking a woman to be submissive, it's not necessarily obeying orders. You know what I'm saying? It's really just submitting to the laws of the universe as whole, because I have to protect you. And I've tried to explain this to a lot of people, but people don't seem to understand this. Anything that you have to pretty much protect, it has to take orders from you in a degree, because it has to be in your vicinity. It can't be out of your protection. So it can't, like, if you stay over here, if it go all out of bounds way over here, how you gonna be protecting that? Like, so it's like, that's why in the army you can't go, you can AWOL, because you leaving, you not being submissive to your duties as an officer. So it's not necessarily a thing of you gotta obey every command of even the army, but you still gotta submit to the location where you're supposed to be at and certain things of that nature, because you under the protection of that entity and they're responsible for you. So it's not necessarily like you gotta submit to that protection. So it's like, I don't understand where the backlash is coming from for people having to do something in real time. In my estimation, it's a whole bunch of poor and lack of understanding, and people need to really research and understand the values which they're partaking in when they're trying to partake in certain social dynamics. Like, you can't want to be in a marriage but then not want to be submissive to a husband. To me, that's kind of hypocritical. You're the type of person that shouldn't want to be married because you're not submissive. You don't want to submit. That's one of the requirements of a marriage. It's other requirements of a marriage that we overlook as well. But we're not getting into that today. But it was just the fact that, my tweet pretty much probably got more attention from her blocking me than it would have gotten if she would have just had a conversation with me and we could have talked about it and dialogue further. Because, like, 20 people retweeted it. I never had 20 retweets before. It's not a lot, but I never had 20 people retweet for me before. And, like, so many people liked it. It got like over 100 likes. My Twitter is like, don't even have I don't even have 100 Twitter followers. You get what I'm saying? She had a lot of followers, so I'm just keeping it a buck with you. You know what I'm saying? So it was just one of those things where sometimes you end up meeting your fate trying to avoid it. Like, you can't always run away from these things, and that's one of the things that I really took away from this whole situation, from seeing it get so much attention after the block. You can't run away from this. I think that was an intelligent person, and she had a point because that is true. But that don't mean there's nothing wrong. It's like you can't feel funny about something that's just nature. Like it's in nature, that's just what it is. It's not men trying to be oppressive of women, trying to have a woman submit to a man. It's not a man trying to be her boss or be her. It's just that's life. Like you must submit to anything that has that is protecting you. It's just like, you know what I'm saying. Sometimes when somebody corrects you or tells you when you're wrong, it's not always because they don't like you. Because correction is really somebody showing that they love you. Correction is love. It can be love, especially if somebody is correcting you to do something positive to the betterment of yourself. So that's just one of those things where you have to look at. If somebody's giving you good advice, will you submit to it? If somebody's going to give you good advice that's going to save your life, are you going to submit to that advice? So if your man is giving you good advice that's going to help you in life, are you going to submit to it? Or are you going to rebel against it because you don't want to be submissive? Like, this is really the dynamic that we're dealing with in society. And I really see men out here protecting their women 9 times out of 10. And I really mean 9 times out of 10. Because that 1% of niggas who beat their women and it's niggas out there and people out there in general that do stuff like that. But it's not the majority of men. It's not the majority. It's a small amount. You got to go find those guys. They got a certain look. They got a certain type. And you can pick them out in the crowd. And you can go have a relationship with him, and you can have a toxic relationship all you want. He's not gonna be protective though. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna be, and you don't have to be submissive in that. You shouldn't submit to that nonsense. And that's pretty much what this is all boiling down to, is that when you're trying to submit to toxic things, that this is what happens. Y'all want to submit. Y'all want the toxic men to act like the productive men, and then submit to you. Just get a productive man. Don't. You should never submit yourself to something that you feel is unacceptable. Even men have to submit at the end of the day. Men go to work. Men have religions and certain things like that. They have to submit to their higher power. They have to submit to all types of stuff. So it's not a thing where it's just you choose to be in that relationship with that man. You choose to be in that marriage. You choosing to be there. You don't have to. So you could be a single woman all by yourself, a cat lady, all of that. You don't have to submit to no man. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, if you want to be in a relationship with a man, if you want to be in a circumference of a man, you want to be in a company of a man, for the majority, you're gonna have to submit to a man. It's just that simple. And it's not like you submitting to his ultimate whim. No, it's just submitting to his protection, submitting to his protection. It's like, it's no way around that. You know what I'm saying? Even he has to protect himself too. So it's like, and you do want a man who you respect their authority anyway. So if you don't respect that person's authority, you shouldn't be with them. You know what I'm saying? And that was just a really genuine Twitter interaction that I had. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not gonna leave none of the details in the comments, but I just don't understand why a lot of highly educated black women get on Twitter and find reasons to I don't know what is finding reasons to do to not be happy. That's what I'm looking at it as. You finding reasons to not be happy. You know what I'm saying? Because it don't have nothing to do with reality. When you come with these terms like, black men are not willing participants in the patriarchy. That's false. Like, it's just a lot of different things that we have to break down that's coming out of academia. And I know a lot of it, but I can't just spit it verbatim. I would have to go research a little more, write things down, and then come back with a lot of these terms that they're using to try to basically brainwash the minds of what you would call highly educated people in general. But we all know that education at times could be indoctrination, and that really knowledge is power. You know what I'm saying? It's not about being educated, but it's about seeking knowledge, and you find out what's right for you by seeking all things. You know what I'm saying? And find out what's right for you. You don't let somebody come and tell you what's the information. You see what I'm saying? That's went to one of my previous videos when we were dealing with first-hand and second-hand information. You pick through all information and you find out what's factual and what relates to you and what makes common sense to you. You know what I'm saying? You don't let anyone educate you. And I think that's really what we are dealing with here today in this modern society. A lot of people have been educated and are indoctrinated. So they are pretty much thinking in one direction. They're not really looking at all their options or all the options period out there. So they see things one way. You know what I'm saying? So I would say that as a people, we have to have more conversations like this where we break these type of things down and put both perspectives out there. Like, you know, it's a lot of people that don't want women to be submissive, and if that's the case, it's going to be a lot of people that don't want men to be protective. And then where are we? If the women saying, "Oh, I don't want to be submissive," and the men saying, "Oh, I don't want to be protective," like that's backwards. And that's exactly where this is leading to and where it's at, because we have to understand what we're saying as people to each other. When black women are saying that submissive is this and it's something totally different than what they're saying, black men have to stand up and speak as men and speak the truth, and don't be afraid or bashful or think somebody's going to judge you or worry about the social awkwardness of it. You know, just speak out the truth like I'm doing here today, which I will continue to do. But it's just one of those things where we have to have more conversations, and we will. But this is your boy Ocho. You know what I'm saying? I want you to be positive when you can, but be negative if you have to do that, because the most important thing is to be balanced. You know what I'm saying? And always remain that way. And this is your boy God Mode Ocho Solo, Fresh 85, Mailing the Marianas. I'm out this thing.